Hello, and welcome back to another physical education and wellness curriculum resource video. So, as with the other ones, this is going to be a quick introductory video on a resource that I actually created back in 2022. And the reason I'm relaunching this one resource is that I've had so many requests from people around the province and in my collaborative community to have easier access to this. So in 2022-23, a lot of the work that I was doing to support the implementation of the new physical education and wellness curriculum in Alberta had to do around building some resources, especially for elementary generalists, to elevate how they were delivering content, especially in the gym. So, because teaching physical skills is very much like teaching a skill like reading or writing, if generalists or if people teaching phys ed, teachers teaching phys ed, don't have a solid understanding of the scope and sequences, those patterns and pathways that students are going to move through, it's really hard to teach the manipulative skills that this new curriculum requires us to teach. So after 20 plus years of teaching phys ed, I sat down to create this resource. I think one of my favorite things about this resource is I've had many emails come into me over the last couple of years asking me to put a grade, like by what grade should students be able to do each step in the sequence. And the interesting thing is that if you look at some of the research that's been done in Australia, especially, they do a lot of work with age and stage with movement and child growth and development. Most of our students coming into grade one should already be at like a mastery level at these skills. So things like throwing, kicking, catching, these are skills that develop like 5, 6 and should be developing all throughout. Guess what? They're not. I have grade 9 students in my phys ed class right now who still don't know that they need to use the opposite foot when they're throwing a ball. So it's called opposition. They still throw same arm, same side. How does that happen? Because the scope and sequence hasn't really been built out. So with this new curriculum, we're given this opportunity to really dive into the skill of our students and to take that scope and sequence and start to build all of these skills from the curriculum as if it was like a reading skill. Okay. When I was teaching elementary, one of the things that I found worked really well was to actually teach reading and writing like it was a physical skill, right? You start with where we're at. What do we know? What can that kid do? And what's the next step? So this resource is called the Object Manipulation Progression Resource. It's a mouthful. The nice thing is that for every one of these little snippets, these scope and sequences, if you go back to the APLC website under Classroom Resources, there is a section called Object Manipulation. And in there, there is a video. I think the longest one is 15 minutes, but there's a video showing you exactly what these 3 to 4 stages of growth look like. So if you've never taught batting before in cricket or in baseball, you can go to that video and I'll walk you through what the stages look like and what the next step is. So if you have some kids who are really strong athletes, you'll still be able to challenge them. But if you have students who have had no exposure to throwing, catching, skipping even, right? All of these things are scope and sequences. Then you can take a look at that, and that's how we can actually challenge each kid at their level in the gym, just like you would in reading. So let's have a quick look at this. As I said, if you want the full resource, please look for the Object Manipulation series. It was built in 2022-23, and it is on the APLC website. So in here, there's a little bit of introduction and some overall ideas. So overarching ideas in all skills. Number 1, need eye contact. Number 2, bend your knees. BYK, bend your knees. If you see kids standing up, they are not going to be able to do the skill. And the last one is be big and vocalize. We want the gym to be a place of active communication, verbal communication, nonverbal communication. As you'll see here, I've got some overarching notes. So body position, rotation, giving you those vocabulary pieces so you can start to think through this as a phys ed teacher. When I first had to start teaching reading after, what was it? Almost 10 years of teaching, it was a whole new skill set, right? But once you find those scope and sequences, that's when it gets easier. So the cusps, we have three main things that they're going to talk about in the cusps. So this is the prep phase. They give you some ideas, the carryout phase, and the completion phase. So again, these are things you can break down. We're trying to move beyond extended recess and phys ed. This curriculum demands we build skill. So how is a student setting up to throw a ball? How are they throwing it, and what are they doing after? Hey, again, it's just this getting to know it. Once you understand it, it doesn't add more complexity. It actually makes your job a lot easier because you can start to see progress in each student. I also have some tips on ways that I teach, and my mentors have showed me how to teach, and also how to transfer. So I'm going to walk through a couple of these just so you understand. It's all set up the same way. So the first one is sending, so throwing overhand. Underhand is a great way to start if your kids are young, right? We don't have to start overhand. In here, it's going to give you key teaching points. So here it says always bilateral movement patterns. When I start teaching kids, I'm never teaching them how to throw right-handed. We're throwing right and left. Brain development wise, that's actually going to increase the accuracy on their dominant side. So I've tried to keep these as tight and as like condensed as I can. It's even big font. I don't know if you noticed that, but this is a big font. Once you get those, then you go into the three main phases from the cusps. What's the preparation, the carryout, and the completion? The cool thing is that kids can be emerging, and you're going to see these terms. I've said there's dozens of different ways. I've gone to a 4-point progression. So emerging, developing, acquired, and accomplished. So accomplished is going to be those kids who show up to your class, can throw with opposition. Now you have to have them working on hitting a target, right? So increasing the challenge. But a student could be like here, emerging in the prep phase, developing in the carryout, and then back to emerging in the completion phase. So you start to really analyze the motion pattern, not just the accuracy at the end. It's like writing a sentence. Is there punctuation, capitals? Do they have verbs? Do they have verb order? Are they conjugating verbs? Right? So this is why when people start teaching phys ed, it's overwhelming. Right? We're not just focusing on the rules. We're actually watching every game we're playing. If you're playing dodgeball, not a bad game from time to time. You can analyze three major skills, three different phases, and have a starting point. I actually prefer just to have kids throw a tennis ball at a wall. It's one of the first things we do after our spatial awareness tasks. So again, another whole resource on spatial awareness. There's some great games in there. Will really help you out if you're not sure how to hit these physical education cusps. Receiving, same thing. Kicking, how to trap a ball. So every skill that is required for us to teach in the elementary curriculum, I've built out a full scope and sequence. Two-handed batting. Okay, in here I have it built out, one for cricket and one for regular. I also have badminton overhead clear because it's a really common sport, right? So remember, parallel to the target, that's a sign that this student is just emerging or they're developing a skill. As soon as you have an athletic stance and some kind of perpendicular action, it's universal through all skills, except for an ultimate frisbee, but that's an anomaly. Okay? And even the volleyball bump. This is the one that I focused on because it is the hardest one to teach. So again, I'm giving you all the steps. So if you review this, I actually like to print it out and post it in the gym when I'm teaching a skill. That way, our really keen kids or kids who are interested, they can go take a look at what they're doing and what they can do differently. These also serve as your teaching points. So if you got a group who's never played volleyball before, we're going to have them start in the emerging. Let's talk about being parallel to the target. We're going to reach with our arms. We're going to follow through with our arms up. And as they get better, then we can add the complexity. Okay. At the end of this, it references something called Kinsey. And there's also a summary from this. It's from Australia. It kind of talks about what are the key teaching cues when you're doing things like the overhand throw, the underhand throw, catching. So I've tried to give you another set of just really short teaching cues, the skill criteria, and some of those common errors. So I hope this serves you. Again, the full resource has, I think, 12 videos attached to it, really short videos. But I wanted to get this one back out there because it's been a while since I've referenced it, and I know some people are looking for it. So I'll see you hopefully live at our collaborative calls. Please join us. It's a fabulous community where we build stuff like this because of the needs of people like you. Other than that, take a look at some of the other resources on the APLC website, and I will hopefully see you sometime in video or live. I'm Paul Marlette, yours in pursuit of a happier and healthier population.